Well, hello out there in the YouTube community. Welcome to a new segment on ERB Sports. This is Batter Up with Brett and John. I got my friend Brett over there. Step in the box, Brett. Go ahead and say hi, Brett.
What's happening, John? How you doing tonight?
I'm good. We're going to try and make this a weekly segment on the show, on the channel. Not the show, but the channel. Cover a different topic every week. In this video, we are going to cover the recent video from Sports Card Investor where he was on with Nat Turner at the National. So we'll go ahead and give our thoughts on that video, kind of give you guys a reaction video or a reaction to that video, and then kind of go from there and see where it takes us. So Brett, initial thoughts on that video?
As somebody who's graded quite a few cards, I'm getting pretty excited. Probably the most excited thing about that I saw from Nat Turner is the lowering of prices and the turnaround times and their goals. They've been pretty ambitious, and hearing that they want to again get under. They had 18 bucks last month, and Nat Turner's talking like they want to get below that. So I'm just guessing 15. In past interviews that he's done, I've heard him talk about they want to get down to 10 bucks. So lower prices, faster turnaround times. That's a lot to like as somebody who grades with PSA.
Yeah, I was definitely intrigued by that. The fact that it was happening so quickly was interesting to me. It sounds like they've been doing a lot of work trying to get their New Jersey office set up, getting to about 50,000 cards a day, which is just crazy. You can do the math on that. It's almost, what is that, about 1.5 million cards a month? It's a lot. That's a lot of cards. They had a backlog of like 10 million, but when you're grading 1.5 million cards a month, and you hired that many people and have that much infrastructure, you have to keep that filled. So I think that's good for consumers, but it's very interesting to see what'll happen, because when I went to the National, there were plenty of what I would call junk slabs that were not selling. The people graded stuff that had no business being graded. So I do wonder, to some extent, of all the product that's out there, how many cards are actually worth grading, even at $10 a card, if if people aren't buying the players because the players aren't good. So be really interesting to see how that plays out. When cards were hot, not that they aren't, but when they were hot on price, even for the bad players who had no business being graded, that has to be included in some of that capacity. So the next thing I noticed, this is kind of near and dear to me from that video, was that they're going to be grading Funko Pops soon if they're not already doing it. So I have a couple of Funko Pops from our collection. We first got Colonel Sanders. I don't know why I grabbed this. Just thought it was funny that they had a Colonel Sanders pop. And the other one here is Rainbow Bright. Now, certainly ERB Sports did not pick out Rainbow Bright. That would be my wife. And I think either the Rainbow Bright or the Strawberry Shortcake that we have, even a raw pop of that, the last time I think you checked like sales on eBay, it was like $85 to $100, which I know we didn't pay $85 to $100 for it. So be really interested to see if we get any PSA 10s and pops. I'm sure we'll send some off for grading.
Have you seen any are they gonna a case or container for it with a label? Have you seen what that looks like? I haven't seen any info on that.
I did, actually. It was in one of my recap videos from the National. I went ahead and took a video of that. They actually had a small booth by PSA that had like a row of pops set up. They had like Tiger Woods, Conor McGregor, one other player, and it was like a square. It was a rectangle, but it was just a little bit bigger on the top for the label, and the label kind of straddled the middle, and then it was kind of just encased in plastic. So really didn't look very gaudy. It was kind of good to see that it was sort of compact, because that was one of my major concerns, is that these things would become massively kind of bloated and have plastic sticking out everywhere. So that was kind of cool. And they were clear all around, which was really nice for visibility of the pop. I mean, some people take them out of the box, play with them, kids play with them, whatever. I think we lost you there, Brett.
Oh, there we go.
Now, hopefully my phone does not boot me here. I got a battery warning, so if I need to pause the live stream to go up and run and get a charger quick, if I hit 10%, keep talking. I'll go on mute.
Sounds good, buddy.
So, what's your other thoughts
Yeah.
from the video with Nat Turner?
You know, before we go a little farther with that, I give Nat Turner and PSA a lot of credit for sitting down and coming up with a plan and really improving their logistics and streamlining things, because even though a lot of people throw out to hear me, John? There we go. I don't know what's going on tonight.
Oh, it's okay.
So
It
weird.
was a little garbled, but yeah, I got you.
But they were taking tons of shade and they had to close down, and then those turnaround times blew up. That backlog was a mountain that if they didn't ramp up production, they've over doubled their production and number of cards graded per week. And
Yeah.
these cards that took a year that people are complaining about could have taken 2 years. Like realistically, if they would have done anything. So, and the other takeaway is now they're opening up. I had heard this last year and I wasn't sure what the timeline, but they're opening up that East Coast grading facility. And he said they have their first graders, and it's a whole process. It's a shipping department, receiving department, processing department, up through graders, and they're starting to grade cards there, which is really, really cool. The one thing I'm interested in is right now I just sent in an order for right there at the end of the month, 150 cards to PSA in the $18 range, and ship those out to California. I'm interested when they start giving you an option, or like what locations you start shipping East Coast or West Coast. Right. I don't know when or how that's going to happen, but it's really cool that they're starting to do that, in my opinion, especially as a consumer who uses them.
It's a really great point. I wonder, when you're submitting cards to them, I'm assuming you get like a shipping label back, a ship to label back in return or something, and it says this one's going here, this one's going there. So now that they have an East and a West Coast office, I wonder if they'll ship, split it geographically right down, Chicago or something like that goes to the East Coast office. Everything else goes to West Coast. I'd be really interested to see what happens. Or maybe it's by type of card or the set, or, vintage one place, modern the other.
Yeah, could be service level, price point. But it's great to see, because you heard them talking about it last year and everything. I love, we always want more info. And it seems like I'd have to go back and look to see when Nat Turner was on. That's another reason I follow Sports Card Investor, because he's done some really good interviews with Nat Turner. I should go back and rewatch the one from last year when they were talking about this stuff, and to see it come to fruition of what's happening. Because I use PSA strictly to grade cards, and I've had an account there, and I've had some good fortune with them. But I tell you what, if they get their cards down to $10 a piece and you can get it in 90 days, there's no stopping. All these people that are like, screw PSA, there's going to be people subbing cards again.
Yeah, I just wonder what'll happen to the other grading companies if they can't match that. I mean, one thing, grading accuracy is so important. People want to make sure their cards are graded to a fair condition based on what the condition is. So one thing PSA, I think, has to be mindful of when they look at, grading that many cards with that quick a turnaround time is, can they maintain very good quality metrics to not give out too many PSA 10s that don't have any business, and also not miss anything that should have been a 10 and give it a lower grade and sort of piss people off. So I'm really interested to see what that looks like in sort of a year's time. And I think there's some sites out there that do a really good job of sort of breaking that down. I know Market Movers has that breakdown where you can kind of look at the gem rate. And I think Neo Cards and Comics has had a video on that from time to time, basically saying like PSA might be 28% gem rate right now on Prism Basketball or Prism Football, and the other companies might be 30%, some might be 25%. So are they all sort of in that same family? And is one an outlier where all of a sudden it's double? That becomes a problem.
Oh yeah.
Because that obviously means somebody's either missing something and they should all be grading that high, or somebody's just pencil whipping it and just pumping cards out just for the sake of putting plastic around them.
Yeah, the card grading thing is so subjective across the board. And it's so hard to like I've seen it all the ways between all the companies. You have, people get a low grade, crack it out, sub it somewhere else, get a high grade or reverse. And it's like I saw one recently, I forgot what card it was, but somebody cracked it out. And what they don't tell you is, hey, when you cracked it out and it was a lower grade, was there something on the card? Did you clean,
Right.
It could have been a speck just sitting on the front of the card and all you did is wipe it off and it went from an 8 to a 10. Because I've had cards where when you look at them and you're like, oh wow, if I wouldn't have wiped that off, it would have gotten a way worse grade. So grading's so subjective too. And if you and I could look at the same card and we would we'd be like, we wouldn't have the same grade for it. It's tough. Grading's an interesting cat, but the one thing I like about grading is just having the card encapsulated and safe.
Yeah,
but
I definitely think that grading is something I'm going to have to get more into, because I'll be honest, I have never really submitted anything for grading. It's just not something I've done. I don't have a PSA account, but I think if they opened up more of a permanent, tier, like a $15 to $18 tier, and it was, maybe a little bit higher on the actual, declared value, I would probably submit more, or at least submit any for that matter. But yeah, I'll have to keep an eye out for that. The next thing that I noticed in that video, Nat said at the National this year, they were 2 times busier than they were in 2021. But one thing that I didn't hear him say is last year that I think they were charging, if I'm not mistaken, the best you could get for submitting your cards at the National was around that. I can't remember. It was about $100 or $200.
I was going to say
if you wanted it instantly.
There's no way it was less than 100.
But there's no way it was less than 100.
Oh yeah.
And if it was $100 then, and they were getting a submission rate at a certain frequency, and then this year at $18, it was double. Well, that's not exactly like saying that there's twice as much interest in submitting cards overall, because I just wonder to some extent that, the number of cards that were going into PSA at $100 per card was a lot lower than 50,000 cards a month. So even if you double that, I wonder where they're actually at in terms of total submissions from this special they ran in July. I wonder if it's 50,000 cards. Maybe it's probably more than that.
Yeah,
so
way more than that.
50,000 cards a day. It's probably way more than that. So I would wonder though, is it close to 1 million cards, or is it more close to like 300,000 cards? Because 300,000 is still well short of their capacity.
Yeah, I would love to know that too. I follow I follow Gem Mint Submissions on Facebook, and he subbed a lot of cards. I don't know the exact number. If I really dug in, I could probably find it on his Facebook page. And then I think it's PC Sports on YouTube. He subs mass subs, and he said he was subbing a lot of cards for the group, But there's right. less group subbers out there now.
Yeah,
which is a good thing. PSA kind of put the kibosh down and had to go through that. I like that myself. I'm so glad that they opened up that $18 to like everybody who had an account or wanted to create an account, because I get frustrated when they only allow their group subbers to put stuff in. I'm like, why would the guy that I would go through is out of Florida. So it's like, why would I take my cards, pack them up, ship them to Florida, that he gets them, unpackages them, processes them, put them in the computer, packs them up, ships them to California, and then it goes through the process. And then it's like, it's going through too many hands. It's in the post office too much. It's like, I can do it myself, but
too much can go wrong at that point.
Yeah.
Too many variables.
I'm really glad that there's less of those. So But it's a good sign.
Yeah,
I think people are
definitely
being,
agree.
I do think people, and even myself, are being more picky about what they're sending. Not everybody is, because we all have, we all have those cards that we want for our PC that, hey, they're not worth much, but we want them in a slab,
Right.
But like I sent 2 Chris Morel Bowman Megas that I have no intention of selling. One of
Hmm.
them was off center. One of them looked pretty good. I'm just hoping to get 110 between the 2 of them.
Yeah.
Would I grade that normally? It's like borderline if I want to, but so you get those kind of cards. But
Yeah.
overall, I think people are being more picky and more picky on what they're buying as well.
Yeah, definitely agree. I think people are being smarter with their money. So there's a couple more topics on the Nat Turner video that I wanted to make sure I mention. Um, but I think my phone is about to run out of charge. So if I go turn the camera off, can you just kind of fill in for me for a minute,
Yeah, for
if
sure.
that? Hopefully we don't lose any of our audience, although I don't think we have a very big one right now.
I don't think so either. That's all right. Yeah, I
So
mean,
let me turn the camera off and let me see if I can't find. But I know where our charger is. I just got to get it here plugged in the wall. So
yeah, go grab a charger. I'll keep it rolling. But while John's getting the charger, I set up at a sports card show in Oak Creek, Wisconsin this past weekend on Saturday. And man, it was good. The attendance, summertime can be really tough. If you're getting into the card game now, the summertime can be one of the toughest times to sell cards. It really slows down, but the National was packed. People were buying and selling there. At this local show, there was lots of people buying. I had the right stuff. I had a huge weekend selling wise. And people are wheeling, making deals, trying to trade. There were some big players in the room, real big buyers and sellers in the room. What I would consider national level big time dealers. There was at least 6 different people in there. I'm not going to mention who it was, but there were 6 big dogs. Sold to a few of them. Sold an Otani Gold update rookie to one of the big dealers. He really wanted that pretty bad. Sold some Joe Burrow hollows. So that card show was really good. People talk about the hobby's dead. The hobby's dead, but the hobby is still alive. And then comment in the comment section. Did you guys get any optic football off of Target's restock this morning? If you're snoozing, you're losing, guys. Target.com. Get up Tuesdays and Wednesday mornings and be ready to go. They don't stock every week, but today I did not snooze. I was up, and Target restocked, and I picked up some optic football blasters that I'm hoping to rip on my channel. So I'm pumped about that. Optic football looks really good. Recently opened up some Prism basketball, 2021 Prism basketball. That retail I think is amazing. There's autographs in there. There are some number cards, but they're tough, but there's lots of parallels. The cracked ice looks great. The green, the purple waves. It's a really good product. I enjoy it. And for the price to open a few blaster boxes, I highly recommend that.
all right, Brett,
So,
I'm back.
all right, buddy. While you're
Sorry
gone,
about that.
that's okay.
That was,
While you're gone, I hit on the card show this last weekend. Hit on the Target restock this morning about optic football coming on, and then hit on kind of that I've opened some Prism basketball, and I really like that retail product for a nice fun rip. I
Yeah.
think that's a really fun rip. I mean, I was surprised, man, getting a couple autographs out of there. I was surprised because football retail, man, you're not getting any autographs out of that.
Yeah, it was really disappointing when Panini released that product with that many good quarterbacks in it to not put any real hits in retail at all. I mean, you got the rookie variations that you can get out of the hanger boxes,
The hangers are the way to
but
go.
that's just not going to do it.
That's not
I
enough.
feel like, yeah, there's a chance at an auto in the Target Mega Box, but that's just really kind of a bad product overall. Whomever thought that was a great idea to release with no numbered cards whatsoever in retail, That's just terrible. I think consumers ought to vote with their wallets on that one.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I know
Long
it's
term.
tough. I wish they would throw
Tough.
in at least some like exclusive, you know, colors at least. You know, like the Meyer purples. Give me something that's different, that's rare,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
unusual. That
I mean,
way,
they had the orange with the orange reactive, or not the orange reactive. They had the orange lasers and they had the orange discos, but they were both orange. There was
yeah,
nothing unique between the two products between Walmart and Target
give
or
me
Excel
something
and
cool.
MJ Holding. They were the same.
Yeah.
So,
But hey, something we forgot to talk about. What do you think about this with PSA? They've
yeah.
now gone to their vault where
Oh,
they're
yeah.
storing cards for, you know, one, to safe store it, but two, possibly to move it to sell. What do you think? Have you ever used a service like that or ever considered it?
You know, I have a lot of cards in house. I think for raw cards, I either that I wouldn't really want to keep for PC. I wouldn't mind sending to a vault or like a ComC or even or what was it, Star Stock when that existed. I don't even know if that exists anymore. It's probably gone out of business. Um, but services like that, where if you have too much inventory in house and you sort of want to be able to kind of move stuff on the fly when a guy has a good game, I think vaults make sense. Because it's really quick to react to the market, and then you're not holding all of that in house and searching where it actually is. It's literally there for somebody to do that job for you. Where I don't think it makes sense though is if you actually have personal collections that you want to, that you want to enjoy. I don't think I'd ever send those to a vault for storage. There's no point. I would find a way to either have a bank vault that I can go to, like a safe deposit box, or some kind of safe in my house where I can keep those cards on hand and then enjoy them periodically, bring them out, look at my Curry Auto, look at my Curry Rookie or whatever, because it's something that I enjoy. It took me a lot over, a couple of months to acquire that card and be patient to buy it at the right price. So in cases like that, I would say vaults don't make sense, but for the general stuff that if you want to be kind of moving cards more rapidly, it might make sense. But again, I think you're taking a little bit of risk by taking it out of your hands. It's not something, if you have a good system, I'd say why change it? Are you on mute, Brett?
I got a phone call. I had to flip it off using my phone. That's a bad thing about using the phone. That was so weird.
That
But
was weird. I've got text messages before too, and it like you can see them and you don't know if anybody else can
it's
see
like
them. So
I flipped it off and I was like, oh no. But
yeah, that's okay.
yeah, I just can't see myself using it per se. Like even for selling, like I can't see myself getting a big order of cards in and shipping them off to a vault and then kind of playing the game. I'd rather just I got a good storage. Now, I guess I could see somebody who if I had just a monstrous collection
Yeah,
of really, really, really expensive cards. It didn't have a good way to store them. And I was going to sell some of them, like you said, to be able to move them. It would be nice to be able to just put them up and not have to
right.
deal with shipping them and that stuff. But I really want to know how many people you like are purchasing off those vaults. You know, I've seen slab stocks when they've gone live that every now and then they'll browse those and buy and sell
Right.
from there. But I I've
Yeah, I
just
don't know.
I've never
It's just
dabbled in that.
I've never really looked at that. I'm not a PWCC person, or I don't
Me
even.
either.
I know eBay has a vault now. Seems like everybody has a vault, trying to get your product,
Yep.
get you to spend more money with them, because I don't think they're doing it to save you money. I guarantee you
No,
that they're
heck
looking to
no.
get you to spend more money. That's typically how capitalism works, unfortunately. Um, but yeah, one thing that I don't know if you had it on your list of topics to talk about from that video, but Nat made a funny comment to Jeff saying Mahomes should never have been more expensive than Tom Brady. Let's be real about this. I think that was a very smart comment. I think looking at the national and kind of looking at what was selling and what wasn't, one thing I didn't really mention in previous videos, but Patrick Mahomes was not moving at all. His prices were way too high. They're still too high. And I doubt he'll ever win I could be wrong, but I doubt he'll ever win as many Super Bowls as Tom Brady. I just don't think it'll happen. The field is so tight right now in the AFC with talent. He never should have been as high as he was, but people got crazy in 2020, and that's just what happens, right? He's the hottest thing. It was speculating, hey, this guy could be the next Tom Brady. Look at this. He's so young, winning Super Bowls already, being in 2. Well, I'm not sure when I don't even know when he'll be back to a Super Bowl. He could have the Aaron Rodgers syndrome where he got into a Super Bowl early in his career and he doesn't get back ever. Or, it might take 10 to 15 years.
They have really the gauntlet. Tough. They've got the gauntlet of QBs in that league. My goodness.
Yeah, definitely.
Loaded.
It could have very easily been Josh Allen. He didn't do anything wrong in that game they lost. When the game went into overtime, the Bills the defense just collapsed. Yeah. Josh Allen was great.
You know what's crazy though is at the National, of all the videos I consumed, like people are buying Josh Allen like crazy.
Yeah. I can't disagree with them because Josh Allen has a lot of attributes that make him very stable, right? He's a pocket passer, but he can also run. He's got a decent leg, but he's not reliant on his legs. He's got a great arm. He obviously has great timing. He's got a good attitude. He seems like a well-rounded person. He's still pretty young. I could see why people would want to speculate on Josh Allen having the potential to be, getting to a Super Bowl quite quickly. But I would be a little bit wary about paying more than Brady for a Josh Allen card for that that matter. If anybody's doing that, I would highly recommend against that.
I think that's the one thing I love about sports cards because I love the Bowman. I love the rookie stuff that swings up and down. I love being in tune with like the Facebook groups to see who's coming and going and to see what players, because it swings so fast sometimes. And like Julio Rodriguez is a perfect example. I'm going to give you one example, the card show. In June, I had from this year, a Bowman, a gold shimmer Julio Rodriguez. So that would, that card was a cool card. I had it priced for $10 at the show in June. And I had somebody come up, want to buy it, said, I'll give you $5. I said, you're getting a good deal at $10. It's probably a $20 card, and I refused to let that card go. Yeah. And then Julio Rodriguez hits a bunch of home runs in the home run derby. And then I sold that card for $120 at the last show. So it's crazy how like one day Wander Franco at the beginning of the year is as high as you can get, and now his card is if you really believe in Wander Franco, man, you can get some really good deals on a lot of good stuff of his right now.
Yeah, but he's really cheap. Yeah,
definitely. I mean, considering where they were, so it's crazy how fast it goes up and down. No
doubt.
Yeah. But that's the hobby right there, man. Speculation and hype, and not so much about the Hall of Famers who've already done it. And Mahomes. But if you know what, Mahomes goes out there and starts the season just going nuts and throwing some touchdown passes, his price will explode again, fast.
That's exactly it. If he has another MVP season, I can see the interest will go right back up. Last year he just played average. But he did close well. They were right there. Joe Burrow and the Bengals just came back in that game. He could have very easily gone the other way. But you have got so many other talented quarterbacks in that league right now that I think will have, has something to say about the Chiefs making it to another Super Bowl. So as a Packer fan, I don't even get my hopes up anymore with Aaron Rodgers.
He's so good, man.
He's great.
That wide receiving core,
good.
Not good, man.
But
they'll be good.
I feel like I'm going to be disappointed every year. Every year, it's like, they're great, perfect, 14-3. 13.
They're going to win the division.
you're going to win the division, you're going to make the playoffs, but then you're going to be disappointed again with a divisional round loss. Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, I already kind of, it's one of those things like it's built into my mind, right? Like built into the price for cards. The Packers losing is already built into my mind. It's like, well, I'm delighted if they win, but I'm already expecting to be disappointed.
I'm already disappointed. The Bears are going to be terrible. Roquan Smith wants traded. I don't blame him.
Yeah. Definitely interesting to see all these trade demands come out. Even in basketball, you see a lot of that. Kevin Durant. You've got who's the latest guy that demanded a trade that said I can't remember who it was. Somebody from Houston, I think, demanded a trade or something like that. But yeah, these guys are just so impatient, and I can't blame them because their careers are so short. They've got to make
cash it in.
They can. Kevin Durant never should have left the Warriors. That was the worst decision he ever made. The Warriors were willing to pay him, and he just didn't want to stay. I was very close to that team at that time, and when Kevin Durant decided to leave, I was like, oh, okay, whatever. The Warriors were willing to pay you, dude. Like, this is a terrible decision. It's not going to work out for you. Good luck. But I guarantee the Warriors are going to win another title before you do. So,
man.
So yeah. One other topic that I wanted to touch on, unless you have any other on the Nat Turner SCI video.
Nope. What do you got?
So when I was at the National, and I saw a couple of videos about this after the fact, and I titled the live stream of our Batter Up segment tonight, "Does the House Always Win?" And essentially what that was supposed to be thought-provoking around is, obviously Vegas, you'd say, well, the house always wins, right? Whether you're betting on sports or whether you're gambling at the roulette table or slots, the house is always going to win. And when I was at the National, I noticed that a lot of people are coming up to dealers to try and sell them their cards. And the dealers don't want to take on any unnecessary risk. They're going to look for what's in their best interest with the cash that they have. But in a down market, if you're a seller and you're in the market to be interested in sports cards, I would wonder to what extent you would let the house win by buying cards from you at such a low value, arguably 50 to 60% comps from what some people were saying, for good cards. You're letting your good stuff go for well below market. You can put in a little bit of effort yourself to even get, a little bit more of a top dollar for that, even on like an eBay where they take 11 to 14%. Even that's a better deal than selling it to a dealer at 50% of comps. So by doing so, the house always winning thing that I was kind of getting at, I feel like if so many people do that, there's going to be dealers who've now amassed great collections. And when the market goes back up, people are going to want to buy those cards back. And if they're not careful, they're going to let the house win. This is an opportunity to not let the house win. And I just wonder why so many people feel like they don't have any other options. So what are your thoughts on, you set up as a dealer at some shows?
Yeah.
Do you ever have people come up to you to try and sell cards, and are you fair with them or honest up front?
I all the time people are coming to try to sell. I'm very picky with what I'm buying. Like I try to only buy hot players that I know that I want to put my money into. But on the flip side of that, I made a point to watch as much national coverage of all the guys and girls that were out there putting content out. And like Card Collector 2, he sat down for an entire, like literally from the time it opened to the time it closed, he sat in the chair and bought the entire day. Yeah. And he was getting some good deals. And the difference between those guys, because I've seen it on a personal level. I've seen one of the big players in the area come into a room, not even as a dealer, but come into a room and go around the room and buy at the right prices. And then I had a guy, he bought stuff from me, and it's like, this is stuff that I'm having a hard time moving.
Yeah.
And he buys it for a good price, and then he turns it over 20 minutes later, somebody that he knows wants it. Like, it's so
Right.
weird. Like, they have a knack for
It is
really
weird.
like,
Yeah.
and another thing, those guys, now granted, they're still using their phone to comp some of the, especially the big stuff. But like Card
Yeah.
Collector too, man, he sits in that chair, he sees singles. He's not looking up on eBay. He doesn't need to do
No,
that.
he's got to have a
He's like,
photographic memory.
he's
Yeah.
like, you do start getting a good idea of like, hey, this is a $20 card. I'll pay you $10 for it. You know,
Right.
and it's pretty amazing how at that show, especially where the dealers, the guys that are in it, they're smart. They've acquired that skill and they know they can move this stuff. And
Yeah.
there's various, I think another thing too that's really changing. I had a 15-year-old girl come up to my table on Saturday, and she bought from me the month prior a little bit, and she
Okay.
likes Bowman numbered stuff, hot Bowman stuff. And
Huh.
I don't sell my first, but she went through and literally picked every Bowman number. She did buy a couple of the Jackson Chorio Bowman Megas, and we
Oh,
worked out
really?
a really, I mean, dude, she bought $300 worth of Bowman from me.
Wow.
And I said, are you reselling on eBay? What's your story? You collect? And she goes, I sell on Whatnot. And she said, this Bowman sells high. And I'm
Wow.
like, wow. So this is a 15-year-old girl who's taking product that I gave her a really good deal on, 50%
Yeah.
off. Basically, it's like I'm doing 50% off to move some of the stuff because some of it's not going to move. And she's going to go and make some money, which, Whatnot, I'm not on Whatnot, but that's another tool. eBay, I don't like selling eBay. There's another tool. Some of these people are very resourceful. It's interesting to see, how people can, you know, upsell something that they get for a good deal. Where as you and me, maybe, do you want to work that hard? Do you want to let it, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I think it's a great point about what the 15-year-old girl did is you have to be creative in your ways of which in which you find value, right? So she obviously found a way to exploit a trendy way to sort of sell cards where somebody like you or me who maybe we just don't use that platform because let's go back to the vault example. You said, would I use the vault? Some people might say I use the vault exclusively because I know I can be profitable by using a vault. And I would say, well, I just don't know it enough to know how to use it to my advantage, so I wouldn't do it. But I think there's a lot of truth in kind of creative ways in which you can use the different tools that are available to find a sweet spot, right? And so it's a very good way of putting it that it wasn't all about people trying to sell cards to dealers, because I did see a lot of that at the National, but there was also people probably like the 15-year-old girl example, trying to find those deals to use it on like a Whatnot or something like that, where she knew that she could have something that would give her an advantage. And so I'll have to pay better attention to that next time at the card show about kids and just in
yeah,
general, like
it's,
how you go about finding ways to acquire cards. Because for me, when I go to a card show, like the thought process that goes into me, because I've never set up at a card show to sell. I sell almost exclusively on eBay. I there's drawbacks with it, but it's the biggest marketplace that I think I can get to, and I do have pretty good success with it. I have a pretty good system as well, so there's nothing wrong with that. But when I go to a card show and let's say I have $500 to spend, the $500 that I have to spend is not $500 to go flip to get $1,000. It's usually $500 to go find the deals on the players that I want to keep.
yep.
It's to find those pieces that I'm missing, the things that I'm acquiring to just sit on,
Yeah,
because I want to collect those players. But there was a point in time where you tried to kind of model yourself after going to find those deals to find a way to sort of turn $500 into $1,000. But lately I've tried to turn $500 into $500 well spent rather
yeah,
than
oh yeah.
$500 into $1,000 to feel good about the spending that I was able to do.
Yeah, there's so many dynamics. There was young kids at the National, this show. I've got, 10, 11-year-olds come up to the table, pricing stuff out, scanning cards, getting
Yeah.
prices,
Yeah.
like, um, buying like, hey, I had the right stuff on the table this weekend. I had Burrows, Herberts, Hurts. I had LaMelo Ball on there. I had lots of good stuff. Otani, and it's amazing how much action was coming towards those players when you have those cards, and
Yeah.
it's just the different buyers, and then I have my old school buyers that love my Series 2 box, all the inserts coming
Yeah.
through and piecing together sets. It's really cool.
Hmm.
But yeah,
Yeah,
I think I think another thing that I saw that I take from that is a lot of people are trying to sell stuff that they can't move that has value, that's takes a little more work to sell, and they're just trying to get that cash to buy something that they want to or invest
true.
in. I saw a lot of that.
That's true. Yeah.
But
Well, we got a card show coming up in Indianapolis pretty much every weekend. You'll have to come down here and join one of our Fisher's card shows or something like that. I promise I'll make it up to the Oak Creek card show at some point.
I got next summer. I'm gonna put the monster on my calendar.
Don't wait till next summer. Put it on your schedule for October. Find a way to do it in October. It's in October. You can bring your dog down here. We're pet friendly.
That'd be awesome. I love it.
We got plenty of room. We got 5 bedrooms. We got a half-acre backyard. I'm sure Tracker would have plenty of room to roam, and we have a dachshund and a cat. But Mia would, if your dog likes other dogs, trust me, Mia they'd be best buds. So consider it. Yep. It is in October. Sometime, I think it's October 7th, if I'm not mistaken. Okay. So think about it.
I will. I know one thing.
Next year for sure.
I put the National on my calendar already, and the minute that I see Super VIP tickets go on sale, I'm buying those. Just for the parking alone, because for me, since I'm commuting every day, that $15 free parking for 5 days pays basically for the Super VIP right there, and so I'm looking forward to that.
Well, we already booked our hotel for Saturday night for the National next year in Chicago. We're a half a mile away. We're at the Rose Hotel, so we went ahead and got that out of the way. We are planning on just right now going 2 days. If we go more than that, we'll book Friday night as well. But right now we're locked in for Saturday. Figured we'll go Saturday and then Sunday, and maybe
that's cool.
Get out of town Sunday. We'll see.
Sunday is actually a pretty good day to go.
That's what I heard, is that I missed out in Atlantic City this year by not going Sunday. Better deals were had on Sunday than Saturday.
Sunday, you can start getting some good deals because people are trying to move some stuff, and especially on sealed product. Dude, these dudes don't want to pack stuff up and take them home. Last year, at the end of the day, man, I bought lots of sealed product at the end of the day. This one guy's like, I don't want to pack this up. I'm like, all right, what's the best deal you can give me on this? Okay, what's the best deal you can? And I just was buying like crazy at the end of the day. So, and he was basically giving it to me for cost at that point because he didn't want to take it home. Right. They're exhausted. It's for those guys that are set up for that whole time, man. They're exhausted by the end of the weekend. I mean, because they're there the whole week. They're setting up their product. They're wheeling and dealing the whole day long. They're staying up. Some of them are partying at night too.
Yeah.
In Atlantic City, they're gambling at night. So it's like
this year next year I promised myself I wouldn't miss out on the nightly stuff. So if we get there early, we'll at least get to experience Saturday night. I'd like to maybe put one more day on the calendar, like a Friday night as well, so we can do Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I don't think we'll be able to do all 5 days like we did this year, but I do feel like we missed out
a couple days
by staying 15 miles away in Atlantic City. Like we just didn't get a chance to soak in all the stuff that the National had to offer. We did our best, but it was a vacation too. So
that's the one thing Card Collector 2 said in one of his last videos. He's like, the venue is great, but never have this in Atlantic City again. Like that was basically his message in a nice way. Yeah. Chicago is so good for it with the convention center. all the
airport.
hotels, you can walk to them. The airport is literally 5 minutes away, a 5-minute Uber ride there. It's a safe area. That's one thing for me. Like, I live in the burbs too, and you've been through this area. It's like everybody's like, Chicago, it's so bad. Well, yeah, it is, but this isn't Chicago. This is a nice area. You can walk out with your case on the street. You're not going to get beat up and mugged and robbed. You can literally walk down the street and then the hotels are connected by all the catwalks, so you don't even have to walk the street if you don't want to. It's pretty cool. So, but man,
excellent.
I don't have much else, man.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what else you got on your channel this week? Step in the box. What's coming up?
It's been really slow for me. I might open some more Bowman, maybe doing Bowman opening, but like right now, I'm a little frustrated because I'd be opening Topps Chrome.
Yeah.
Topps Chrome baseball, but it didn't come out this year. So
not yet, right? Yeah.
Not till October.
Yeah, that's crazy.
We're a long ways from them, and I did get some of that optic football when it comes in. And I'll open some optic football, maybe all of the optic football. We'll see. Okay. But I just don't have much right now that I'm really buying to open. I've become more picky on what I'm opening too. Like I used to just go buy any and everything, but with these prices, even at retail prices, I mean, a Series 2 blaster box, $25. That's $5 more.
Yeah.
Everything. Prism I ripped all that Prism basketball. I would like to do some more of that, but it's like, how much do I want to really keep going? I opened up 19 blaster boxes at $30 a piece, 35 from half of them I got from Walmart. That adds up in a hurry.
It's almost like a hobby box. Say like hobby boxes are expensive, but man, if you open 19 blasters or 25 blasters, you're almost approaching the price of a hobby box. So it adds up, and I missed out on the optic this morning. I'll have to tell it's a bummer. That was disappointing. I was at work and just in a meeting presenting for an hour and a half. I went into the meeting, it hadn't dropped yet. I came out of the meeting and the drop was already over. So easiest
just
way
like
to put
that.
it is I was ready, but not during those 90 minutes. So thank you very much, Target, for screwing me over this morning. But although you did save me $90, so thank you for that.
I think optic football is going to be a good open. I believe there's some kabooms in those.
They're downtowns.
Or downtowns.
They're downtowns. So, yeah, I've seen downtowns come out of the blasters, so I think long term those will be very popular.
Yeah, those are going to hold some value.
A little disappointed, a little salty. I didn't get in on that because that was the whole reason. Was like I know there's downtowns in there. That was the better product, in my opinion. Like that was the case hit that they're probably going to be a lot of them. Let's be honest. The population on these downtowns is going to go way up, but still, like a Mac Jones PSA 10 laser one sold the other day for like $9,000.
It's crazy.
It's crazy. It's like that's way too high.
That's one thing the pandemic did is like I wasn't really open. I love football. I like basketball, but I really wasn't open. I was only opening baseball cards back then. And then when the pandemic came, it's like if I could even find it or get it, might as well buy it. But
right.
I really have dialed back to like, okay, even for football, optic, prism, select. Same thing with basketball. If it's not that, and I'm not getting it for a decent price, I'm not going to open it. Like I just can't believe people are spending $1,000 on a hobby box of prism basketball.
Right.
That blows my mind.
Yeah, I think it's under 1,000 now, if I'm not mistaken, which is good to see. But it's still it shouldn't be any more of. Honestly, it shouldn't be more than like $500, $600. I don't feel like the value's there even at $500, $600 in many cases.
Yeah.
But we'll have to see how that plays out. So
I'm going to throw you one last topic before we go. That kind of goes with pricing.
Okay.
So Fanatics is going direct distributing now. They're cutting out GTS and some of the other ones, which is I want it to be a good move in terms of price of product, hobby product, because if you really stay in tune and hear the breakers and the hobby shops, these middlemen, the distributors, were basically holding product hostage to drive
Yeah.
up the prices so they could sell it higher into certain people, and
Mhm.
certain breakers, and it was limited and it was hard to get. So
Yeah.
even though there was demand and it was high, like what was the demand really? Because I know a breaker, a small breaker, who would get pre-order and they'd be like, oh, we only have 2 boxes at this price. He'd get
Yeah.
the two or the 2 cases. He'd get the 2 cases. And then 2 days later after release, they're like, hey, we got 10 more cases you can buy, but the price is 15% more than you paid.
Right.
And they're going direct. And I'm interested to see if it's going to be all products. Um, but I don't know if the value is going to get passed on to you and me and the consumer.
I don't
I think,
expect it to, other than maybe a little bit of stability up front. I think the firm fixed price is going to be similar to what you'd see. It might be higher than where the low end would be for like what a breaker would get the product at, but I don't think it'll reach. It might be somewhere in the middle. Like if, let's say, when Topps Series 1 came out, it's a great example. On the Topps website, I think it was $80 per box. And at one point, hobby shops were going out and selling it initially for like $100. But then it got to like $140 because
yeah.
Wander
Oh, yeah.
was
I remember.
was hyped and hyped and hyped. There was so much of that product. There's no reason for it to be $140 because now you can buy that same box for $100. We've only
Agreed.
been 3 or 4 months removed from that product releasing. They made so much of it, but they controlled how much they released in a way to keep that price really high and try to take advantage of that. And I would say, what will Fanatics do? Well, I would hope that they wouldn't hold product back like that, but they'll probably release it on their website and say $110. That's it. And we'll find
Yep.
out how many buyers we have at 110. And if we run up against not, selling it, we'll drop it
We'll
to
lower.
100.
Yeah, we'll drop it. Yeah,
And we'll drop
and then
it
keep
to
going.
95. And they'll do it until they're out of it.
Yeah,
I think that's what'll probably happen. You won't see the $90 low end, but you'll see something, and then it'll sort of tear down if people aren't buying it.
I personally, I'm just speculating here. I think the people that are going to benefit the most are some of the hobby shops that were either not established and weren't ordering enough product to get it from those distributors, or like some of the new hobby shops that have opened. I think they're going to benefit because if they're smart, we're filling out this survey and applying with Fanatics because Fanatics put that out, and they've been so I have a local hobby shop, Jim and Steve's in Waukegan, Illinois, that he has a direct account with Topps. I guarantee you that. I don't know that for a fact, but I think he's he's been in business for 40 years. I think he's one of the few, I forgot what podcast is on, but there's like somewhere between 200 and 300 people who have accounts direct with He's one of them. But then down the road, there's another hobby shop. He's been in business a decent amount of time, but he literally can't even get but a case of every product. He can't get anymore because the distributors won't give him anymore. And he got to the point where, like on the hot products, like Topps Chrome, baseball, he wasn't getting any of that stuff. Or Bowman, they'd be like, we don't have anything for you. So I think he's one of the guys that will benefit as long as he's going through. I think they're going to start
a buyer. He'll have to be a buyer.
Yeah.
Hopefully
Oh, yeah.
He'll get product. But these manufacturers make enough of the product to everybody to get distribution. There's no reason for a warehouse or a distributor to be holding product back. I mean, the whole point of product is to open the product, get it out in the market. You don't want to open all of it, but you shouldn't be hoarding product sealed and controlling the amount of it that's in the market as well. So
yeah, Topps has been in business a long time. Just like Walmart and Targets have backdoor deals going on.
Yeah.
Dude, there's preferential treatment to certain distributors out there and breakers. I'm talking mainly breakers because you see certain breakers get an unlimited supply of rare product. And you know what I mean? Like, so hopefully those kind of deals will kind of even out now again and level the playing field. But if you're a breaker, you got to be a little bit concerned about how you're going to fill the product you've been getting for all these years.
It's good. It's a great point.
It's going
And
to be fun to watch.
yeah, and as a consumer though, one of the things that I don't buy into breaks. It's not my thing. Maybe that'll change, but right now I just don't. And I don't usually open a lot of hobby products at a higher end price. So it's kind of like, well, if the fear of missing out, like I don't feel like I'm missing out on anything by not opening those or not buying into a break. I'll just let it play out. And if there's a card I want as a single, maybe 2 or 3, 4 months down the road or even longer, go ahead and buy it raw or buy it graded or whatever. But try to be a little bit smarter with how you spend your money.
Yeah.
So
I
think there's
really
a
love
lot of that.
I really love breaks, and I was getting into breaks before the pandemic, like a lot, throughout 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. And I was buying certain teams, but the prices on the product were so good. Like, you just weren't paying a crazy amount of money. And then I see, and don't get me wrong, I've spent a decent amount of money on certain teams lately, but I can't believe the amount of money that some of these guys and girls are spending to buy one of the massive teams, like let's just use the Patriots in a prism break, a case break, a prism. It's a crazy number to be paying for a team in a break when a prism football in 2017 was just sitting on the shelves. Nobody was buying it. That's what's crazy. Like 5 years, what happened to the hobby, and the hobby's in a good place, which is awesome. I mean, it's sealed wax, singles, slabs. It's still turning, even in what we call a downturn in a down market. Still going pretty good. So
I totally agree. I mean, I was blown away by how many people were at the National. There was no shortage of people. There's no shortage of people at your local card show this month. Probably will be no shortage of people at the card show I go to here in a couple of weeks. The Midwest Monster coming up, version 2. Probably no shortage of people. This Indianapolis area, and I think the Chicago area, is very healthy for people interested in the hobby. So I expect a lot of that to go forward, even in a down market. Andy Albert, who's our local card shop, I don't know, we have a lot of other card shops. I think we have a couple, but Andy's probably the most well-established, the Indy Card Exchange. He's a very good people person. And I think it's hard for people not to stay interested in the hobby because Andy tries to really build up a relationship. It's amazing how much he remembers about what I told him. The guy's got a photographic memory.
That's awesome.
He almost recalls conversations I've had with him. And it's like, I would have forgot. Yeah. I mean, you talk to hundreds or thousands of people on a daily basis, and you remember some of these conversations. I certainly wouldn't.
I think that's something that collectors, buyers, and sellers need to realize. I mean, being nice to people and talking to people and having a relationship, even if you're only doing one deal with them, if you see them again, it makes you feel good about it, and maybe you want to support them and buy from them again or sell to them again. I have one guy Saturday that he big time dealer, and I met him and he just wasn't friendly. And I'm like, how does this guy move cards? I don't ever want to sell this guy again. Like, he was just kind of a dick. I'm not going to lie.
There was a couple of dealers at the National that I felt the same way about. I was like, I don't know how you sell any cards. Like, you are a complete jerk to me or to any consumer that walked up to your table. You have such an attitude. I don't think I'd ever buy from you again. But then there's others like Andy. Andy always had a smile on his face. The whole National, no matter how busy he was, he always had a smile on his face.
Yep. There's a reason Card Collector 2 is successful. He's got a great model. He's got great social media presence. But he seems to be a really nice kid. And he treats everybody so good when they come up to the table. Like, I watched hours of his coverage, and he just treats people with respect, you know. And I think he does give people some pretty decent values. Like, you know, you gotta when you're a buyer, you can't hold that against a dealer for trying to get good deals buying cards. It's their business, man. That's what they
Right.
do. But he does it in a way that's respectful. You know what I mean? He's not
Yeah.
like, hey, that's $100 card. I'll give you $20 for that card. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, he's
Right.
like, I'll give you 50 or 60 for that. And then, oh, that one's worth a little more here. I'll throw you a few bucks more here. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
well,
I didn't get a chance to really talk to him at the National. I did get a chance to talk to the table next to him for quite a bit, which was
yeah, I
Slab
love them
Stock.
too. Yeah.
I talked to those guys for quite a bit. Didn't get to talk to Card Collector 2. We left the trade night before he got there, and we headed off, kind of just walked the city a little bit. So maybe he'll come back to the Midwest Monster. I'll get a chance to talk to him in person. I know he's really good friends with Andy at the card shop by me, so there's kind of a mentor. So
Tell you what,
yeah.
if you're looking to burn some time while you're working, go to his channel and just pull up all the Nationals videos and let them rip right in a row.
Yeah,
They got a lot of coverage.
I still have to watch his videos from the National. I've watched almost everybody else's. I have not watched his yet because I was trying to figure out when to kind of splice them all together. I didn't want to go to the end. I need to start at the beginning and work my way forward. So, but yeah.
What a fun night, man.
Fun night. Yeah. So to recap, for those who did tune in, this was Batter Up with Brett and John. This is the first of hopefully many segments like this. We'll try to do it every Wednesday. If we don't do it every Wednesday, we'll try to do it as close to Wednesday as we can. We'll pick a different topic every week. If for those of you out there who are fans of either of our channels, maybe more so Brett. If we were on Brett's channel, let's be honest right now, we probably have about 60 people watching instead of 3 or 4.
Maybe we can flip it around back and forth.
But maybe I can teach you how to host these on StreamYard for free, and you can do it on your channel and invite me in, and we can do it kind of flip back and forth. But the Batter Up is sort of just an ad hoc topic about the hobby, anything where it takes us in an hour's time, and talk about what's coming up on our channel for the next week. So for me, on my channel, hopefully I will do another rip of some, probably Gypsy Queen. I've got that open box of Gypsy Queen. Still got that to rip. I've got some Prism Basketball blaster boxes that I got. So I will, hey, thanks Royal Card Collector for the comment. Really appreciate that. Glad you had a fun time listening. And like I said, if you are on YouTube and you want to be on the live stream with us and share your thoughts, let me know. I'll be happy to give you the link the next time we choose to go live on the Batter Up segment. So yeah, we'll see. I don't have any IndyCar races this weekend that I'm betting on. My son's got his first cross country race for varsity. Oh, get this. I know we're going to wrap it up, but for some reason I had the like inkling to try and check to see like the preseason rankings for Hamilton Southeastern in the state of Indiana. So last year, my son's team finished second at state for cross country, but there was a graduating class of seniors that was like made up the entire team. So that senior class is gone. So now they have the class behind him where my son is a junior this year, and last year he was a sophomore. And so I'm looking at, this Indiana CC Stats website, and somebody, I don't know who, but somebody took the time to basically calculate probabilities that certain teams will win the state tournament next year for cross country. And so they have HSE ranked 15th in the state. They were second last year, so a little bit of a drop off, but they had an 87% chance of making it to the state tournament this year like they did last year. And my son was actually in the rankings. He was 198th out of 650, I think, that were on the list. So I thought, hey, Braden, there you are. You're on the list. They've got you in the rankings. So you're in the top 200 in the state right now, according to them. I don't know who them is, but according to them, these prognosticators, you're in the top 200 in the state for cross country. So congratulations. I don't know what you won, but hey, best of luck this weekend in your first meet, and hopefully for a great season to come.
That's awesome.
So, any other final closing thoughts, Brett, before we wrap this one up and let each other go and enjoy the rest of our evenings?
No, man, I had a great time. It's good seeing you again, buddy. Always a
Yeah.
good discussion.
Definitely. Next time you come down to Indiana, or if you do, we'll rip a box in the parking lot. I'm buying.
Heck yeah. Sounds good, buddy.
All right. Well, appreciate everybody watching. Again, this is Batter Up segment with Brett and John. Stay tuned for more next week, and have a great night, everybody. See you next time.
See ya.
See ya.